Hey gang, can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me okay right now? Hey gang, can you guys hear me? Yes, 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 yes. Okay. I'm sorry guys, this is my first time streaming. I have never done this before, and I don't know how much of a lag there is as well in there, so sweet. Okay, so that's working. All right. Let's see. Hopefully you guys are able to hear me okay. Okay, got it. Got it, got it. Yeah, I have no idea what happened with that news candle just now. I'm not up to date yet. I literally just kind of getting set up here. But hopefully you guys are doing good today. Sweet. It is kind of weird to think that there's like a little bit of a delay, but I'm glad you guys can hear me okay. I have a pretty crazy setup here right now. So if you're wondering why I'm like looking everywhere, I have a lot of screens up right now. So let's take a look at the Discord and see what type of news came out, because that was wild. Thanks for being on here, Ron. All right. Just bear with me a little bit longer, guys. I am still playing around with a few things, making sure I got this okay. A little quiet on the mic, eh? Is it actually really quiet for you guys? Can you guys hear me okay? How's my audio? Loud and clear. Okay, cool. Cool, cool, sweet, sweet. All right, gang. I have no idea. So I'm just gonna take a look at the news here and see what it is. So what? From the news thing here, what tunes with crude oils overseas? Haven't seen anything too crazy. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I don't know what to expect right now. I usually don't trade this specific period of the Asia session, as I usually by now I'm kind of going to bed, well, putting my kids to bed. So, um, but I'm hoping we get some good action today. Right now, just to kind of share here, and I'm still learning how to balance this whole keeping up with the chat thing and watching the charts, but just to kind of share with you guys here, what I'm looking at right now for the session. As you can kind of see, we obviously came out of a very, very big day. Needless to say, hopefully some of you guys actually caught that. We've been pretty much consolidating within about a 60-point range since we've opened up. So um, I'm kind of taking to look, and when I take a look at situations like these, I'm thinking about like range and trend, right? So we've come out of a major trend, and I would expect us to continue this trend. To be perfectly honest, I know in the past couple streams we've been talking about whether or not we're gonna hit all-time highs tonight. I think it's possible. I am taking a look to see how we hold here right now. When we're generally ranging, I'm open to trading the top and the bottom end of the range. I don't want to call it scalping, but essentially I'd be open to taking those kinds of trade setups. You can kind of see here that we've been kind of holding this 25,994 area this entire time. We haven't really broken this yet. Even with all this news, we obviously set a new high of day for this session. And right now, this dotted line here, just an FYI, guys, this is the 200 EMA. And so I generally use the 200 EMA quite often when it comes to the 2-minute time frame. So I do have a little bit more lines than you're probably used to seeing on other setups, right? But just wanted to kind of share that with you. I am going to actually kind of attempt a long potentially here in a bit. I just want to take a stab, and I'm going to use essentially the candle low here. I want to wait for a little bit longer. I want to see how we push up before I take this long, though, if I do. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Let's see what we do here. So to the question in the chat about whether or not we should be, going faster or slower when it comes to passing accounts, I think it depends on where you're at in your trading. Because, and I say this because, like, if you are still learning, passing account really fast isn't really going to help you much. To be perfectly honest, you're going to get to the funded stage and then you're going to get rinsed right afterwards, right? So, I personally think that, like, if you do have an edge and you have a strategy that's a proven track record, then yeah, pass them as fast as you can, because really you're just playing a game at this point, right? But if you are still learning, though, I don't recommend rushing the process. Take the evaluation stage as an opportunity to practice and learn how to trade. And once you've established a good edge on the market, then you can focus on passing. I think that the idea of obviously getting paid out often messes with our mentals a lot, and I actually find that a lot of people do tend to do that. Hey, Jakes, thanks for logging in there. Have a good night, bud. Get some rest. Um, but yeah, that would be my answer to you, man. Like, if you're still learning, man, don't rush the process, man. Yeah, that wick. I don't know what kind of news came out. I don't have much to offer on that one. I mean, something to do with oil, but I don't see why that would make such a big hit there. Um, I'm gonna attempt a long here. I'm gonna attempt a long here right now. Enter at 26,014, and I'm stop loss at the candle low here at about 25,998. I'm gonna switch screens here so you can kind of see where I've entered just now. Give me a second here. Bear with me. I am still trying to figure this stuff out. I'm actually entering pretty late actually right now because this thing is kind of glitching on me at the moment, unfortunately. Okay, I lie. I'm entering at 26,018.5 instead because that was a little bit laggy. I am going to switch the screen in a little bit here as well. Okay, guys, so just give me 1 second here. Can you see that? Cool. Are you guys able to see that top step now? Yeah, kind of. Okay. Okay, cool. This is not really an A plus long, but I'm willing to kind of take a look to see how this goes. The reason why I'm saying that this is not an A plus long, and actually, if anything, sometimes I would actually even want to, if this news candle wasn't here, I'd actually want to short this, but I wanted to just see if there was a way we can retrace back to the high. So this is just more of a test trade more than anything else, but let's just see what we do here. And the reason why I'm saying normally I would like to short this is because although I don't trade, I know a lot of people don't trade EMAs all the time, but if we have a lot of bar by bar alignment and we also have like the EMAs aligning, then that's generally where I'd be open to shorts. And kind of right now when we take a look at this, right, if this 15-minute closes as like a bearish, really large bearish candle with a wick there, then I would be very much interested in shorting this, to be honest. I'm okay taking a couple of stabs tonight with the gang because I've got quite a bit. It says the screen is blurry. Is it blurry for everyone, guys? Oh, Night Owl, I'm live for like the next 2 hours. I'll be off by midnight here in Pacific Standard Time. Okay, maybe it's just the internet for you, Josh. Cool. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, let's see how price holds here, man. So, like for guys, I know some of you guys are watching for the first time. I generally like to use all three time frames to run for Confluence when I'm looking for trade setups. So that's why I made the comment about the 15-minute. Right now, if you were like looking at a pattern, this is kind of like a head and shoulder setup that we've got going on here, which is kind of what makes me think bearish. But we'll see how this kind of candle closes here. No, Josh, I just recognized the nomad part. I figured that was you, bro. For those who don't know who Josh is, man, my man is jacked as heck, man. The guy's huge. Three time frames here. We got the 2-minute time frame, 5-minute time frame, and the 15-minute time frame. It's my go-to. Yeah, for longs wise, it's not looking too good at the moment, and the reason why I say that is because that 15-minute, the way that it closed is not ideal. So that's why I'm also happy with where my stop loss is at the moment. Oh, I realize, you know what? I'm not showing my three screens. I'm sorry. That's probably why you're wondering what time frames I'm looking at. There you go. This right here, I just switched over to the 15-minute time frame and 5 and 2. I don't like the way that we just lock that in. Like this would tell me that we could potentially really start pushing back downwards from here. And a comment that I would also put in there is that's the reason why I have my stop loss where I had it earlier. I think a lot of times, you know, one of the probably the worst degenerate behavior that we have as traders is like constantly moving the stop loss, thinking that it's going to come back to life at some point in time of the matter. The reality is that if your trade thesis breaks, then it doesn't make sense to keep holding, right? And so for me, if we break between the lows there, long thesis no longer makes sense, right? So that's the reason why I'm keeping it where it is. My students hear me say this a lot. You know, you want to make sure you keep the ammunition in the chamber for yourself. So I would rather have more bullets in the chamber for me to take shots in the market than to waste it all on one trade, which more often than not, I think what a lot of time happens to us is that we'll waste a lot of bullets in the market, and then we'll find that, oh, a good setup comes in later on, but by then, too bad, too late. We've already used up all of our bullets on either degenning or not accepting the loss or anything like that, right? So just wanted to just put it out there so you guys know what I'm referring to when I talk about that. It seems like the delay is a little bit longer than just 3 seconds, just based on the response that I'm seeing in the chat. Because I switched my chart over quite a bit ago, and it's just showing up for you guys now. Yeah, in terms of trading wise, I generally trade the NQ. That's like my bread and butter. I'm very much content trading other things as well. Obviously, you know, in the end of the day, as Jake likes to say, a chart's a chart, right? So NQ is predominantly what I trade. I'd probably say 90 to 95% of the time I trade the NQ. Occasionally, I'll dabble in gold here and there. But ever since we've started having such volatility on gold, it's been quite tough to trade, especially for someone like me. I don't usually trade micros. I usually trade minis, and when gold is moving as volatile as it is, it's a little tough because the last time I traded gold was actually probably a few months ago. It was well before any of this craziness came into play. It was before the prop firms started to restrict how many contracts you can use for gold. So it was a different time. Nice, Night Owl. That's good. Good for you, bro. Yeah, man. Yeah, of course, Oscar. Right on. I'm just gonna move some things around here before I kind of start doing that, so I don't lose track of this. Um, okay, I'm good. Yeah. So trading wise, I've been trading for about like 5 years now, which is kind of crazy to even say that, to be honest. Um, I mean, I started like during probably just during the pandemic. I think a lot of people kind of did the same thing. And no, I didn't start because of the GME AMC run at the time. That's actually not what got me interested. It was actually another trader named Stock Market Wolf, which obviously Rake knows himself as well. I kind of saw him and kind of started learning small caps through there, and that's actually where I met Jake as well, because he was a moderator at the time there. When he started his own thing and he was trading options, another colleague of mine actually said, "Hey, you should give options a try. It's pretty solid." So I tried and had early beginner's luck trading options, and I will tell you that I lost this just as fast as I made it, and that's actually when I started wanting to say, you know what, I'm going to give the mastermind a try, and I'm actually MM6. So for any of the mastermind 6 students in the live chat, what's up, man? You guys have probably seen my journey from where I started to where I am now, and yeah, it's pretty much there. I went through the mastermind, learned more about what options were and all that, and transitioned to futures just probably I think it was what August of 2024 last year. Same thing. A person just said, "Hey, you should try trading futures because you can't." Because they knew how busy I was. I'm like I can barely make it to the New York session half the time because I'm an entrepreneur. I work with like a lot of restaurant owners in Canada here as a business consultant. So I can't trade the New York session all the time, and I have kids now too, which makes it even that much harder. Anyways, that's kind of the gist of things of why I ended up trading futures because I had the ability to actually trade like multiple sessions, and believe it or not, my monumental year last year, and if you've seen my YouTube video and all that, I've talked about it before. My massive year last year, 90% of it was actually from trading the Asia session. It actually wasn't even from trading New York or London for that matter. So I do have a soft spot for the session that we're trading right now. I know it's a very different from what most people are used to, but that's kind of like the gist of it, anyways. At least in terms of where I'm from Vancouver, Canada, so I'm on the West Coast, but I'm in the north. If you guys are from the U.S., what's up, AJ? Yeah, man. Hey, you know what? Dragonite. I mean, I think that in terms of profitability, I know everyone's trying to expect this kind of linear path of like, hey, if I just trade this long or work this hard and I'm going to get there. Unfortunately, it's not that easy. It doesn't work like that. I think all of us kind of operate at a different journey, and I think this is no different from any corporate career that you might ever hold or have. It's not about how much time you put in. It really just comes down to how fast you pick things up, your work ethic, your discipline towards certain things, right? There's a lot to it. There's a lot of variables. I don't want to say just because what I'm saying is like, oh, are you saying that I don't have discipline? I mean, that's just one of the many elements that contribute to it, right? So, um, anyways, that's just kind of my 2 cents on the topic. Um, so don't rush it, man. Like I think that we put a lot of pressure on ourselves sometimes with that, right? All right, so I got stopped out there, and I'm okay with that. Like I said, right now, with that break of the lows, I think we might be able to actually retrace back lower right now. I'm not going to hop into a trade right away. I think this is a bad habit that a lot of traders do, is that they hop right into a trade after a losing trade. It is not worth it. Because in the end of the day, unless your stats will tell you otherwise that makes sense to do that, it is not worth doing that. So just want to put it out there. In terms of how much we made last year. Yeah, last year, in terms of prop firm, so not P&L, but actually like payout. Last year I did about $880,000 in prop firm payouts. And this year, I think 3 months in, I'm about $250,000 in prop firm payouts. So that's what I've done so far. And in terms of like options trading, I did about $126,000 last year, and that was with just the last 3 to 4 months of trading it as well. Um, with this current year, I think I'm like up $100,000 as well. And I have to double check. I haven't traded options a little bit. I actually kind of took a little bit of a break from it because, like, to be perfectly honest, people who trade option, you'll understand what I'm talking about. It was just between me balancing prop firm and then also options and everything else that was going on in my life. It was getting pretty stressful, to be honest. I don't know if you've ever, you've ever heard a lot of traders talk about it, but trading health for wealth just isn't worth it. And that's kind of what I felt like I was doing. Like I'm like, in the end of the day, I'm doing so well, and yet I'm still pushing myself so hard, and it makes you kind of wonder, like, okay, like what's the point of pushing so hard if you're not going to be physically, mentally well enough to, do it. So as a father, I mean, I self-reflect a lot as well. And so these are just a couple thought points I'd share with that. Um, anyways, I don't want to ramble too much. I'm just gonna read the chat here just to make sure I don't answer you guys' question. Yeah, Ryan, I got stopped out the moment we broke that, what is it, 225,998. Yeah. Which is fair. Like I said, I made that comment earlier too, right? I want to see, because like with that news candle, I want to see if there was a chance to kind of retrace back up. Anyone who's been following me for long enough knows I don't trade news often. That was like totally a stab at it. But from a bar by bar, this move down right now makes 100% sense. My students, if you're watching right now, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Like that 15-minute failure to go higher, the way the head and shoulder setup was, like this downward move, very clean, makes a lot of sense, right? So, but I don't like jumping into trades after a losing trade. That's literally the only reason why I haven't taken the trade yet. But there's a lot of things here that make sense from why this move is coming down right now on the price. In terms of seeing success, it's honestly, man, like if you're asking the question, when did you start seeing success? It's such a hard question to ask because it really depends on how you define success. Last year was as Jake likes to call, last year was my Nike checkmark year. Like last year was the most monumental year. And I say that because any wins or any losses that I may have incurred in the first 3 years of trading last year just took everything as a home run, right? Like it was an exceptional year, one that humbled me, to be perfectly honest, right? So a lot of people don't know much about my personal life, but and some people even ask me, like, you made so much money, what did you do with it? Well, I'll tell you right now, two big things that I did, or actually three. One, I supporting the businesses with my partners. That's been one thing I've been doing. The second thing is enjoying family trips. I've been traveling around the world, and so I have this big bucket listing with my kids where we're going to visit every Disneyland around the world. And I've visited 3 Disneylands already with them. And then the third thing is, which is the biggest thing that has drained capital, has been I've been helping all of my siblings and siblings-in-law with their first down payment for their home. So I put all my siblings basically in their first home in the past couple of years here. So that's been a bit of where all my capital has gone. And if you know me well, helping others is the most fulfilling thing for me. So if I have the ability to do that, I absolutely will. So that's kind of where that kind of comes from. Sorry, I don't want to ramble too much, but that's a little bit of that. Back testing, absolutely. I think that back testing is critical, man. If you don't back test, I don't think you'll ever really know what your edge is on the market. So I think that is super important, to be honest. Because like I don't think there is any other way for you to figure out whether something works or not if you don't put in the work and put in the homework for that, right? Let's see. It is definitely not daytime over here. I just have a lot of lights on right now so that I don't look like I'm hiding in a cave while I'm trading. It is nighttime for me here. Night owl, it's all good, man. You locked your account for a reason, brother. Prop firms, man, I have gone through a lot. So for those who don't know, I know that the person asked, what prop firms do you use? Currently today, I still use Top Step, Take Profit Trader, and those are actually the only two that I use at the moment. I'm in the process of moving live with my fund of futures. I'm capped out with Tradeify, which for those who don't know what that means, it basically means I've maxed out the amount I'm allowed to get paid out from that prop firm. So I'm maxed out with Tradeify. I'm maxed out with Fund of Futures Family. Um, I'm maxed out with Lucid, as you probably saw from my YouTube recently. So yeah, I've capped out with quite a bit of prop firms, to be honest. I'm just reading through the chat, guys. Give me a second here. Nice job catching that short, Buljeet. Yeah, man. I mean, I do use Rake's levels. There's a lot of things that I use. So I think every trader should always aim to evolve themselves, right? In a lot of facets, right? Like, and I say this because I basically took the mastermind and I kind of evolved it into my style of trading. You probably have seen that same theme from all the other hosts so far, where a lot of the traders have come on board and have learned a lot of different things and embedded with a lot of different styles as well. Because in the end of the day, as traders, it is important for us to establish our own identity as a trader. Because if you're always trying to replicate someone else, it's gonna be very difficult for you to get a sense of like how to find a footing in your trading, right? So absolutely you definitely gotta evolve that. Honestly, I like the props over live, and a lot of the reason is because of tax reasons. Now, I know it's gonna be different everywhere depending on where you are, so definitely, obviously, talk to a financial advisor or talk to your accountant because I'm not the best person to probably answer that comment, but it just makes the most sense in my personal opinion to trade with prop firms because the way the taxes work with prop firms versus live capital, especially with the way that I'm set up with my own personal stuff, it just makes the most sense. And yeah, I do trade my own funds on the side. It's actually why I've just like when Jake reached out to me actually asking me about um you know coming on as a host, I said yes because education, mentorships, coaching, it's kind of what I want to do kind of moving forward. And the reason for that is because I find it more fulfillment doing this than anything else. And I've already been blessed enough to be able to achieve what I've achieved financially in the things that I do. So it's kind of like my way of being able to kind of give back in a lot of ways. That's the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. So I do enjoy this. You can follow me on Instagram as well, Azheng_consulting, if you're kind of curious. This chat's moving a lot faster than I can keep up with it. I think one other person asked me, what do I look for in a chart? So I'm just gonna kind of touch on that a little quickly here because I know a lot of people are probably wondering that as well. So when I take a look at this right now, right, when I'm looking at the chart, obviously, I think what we've seen as a common theme in a lot of our chats so far is multi-time frame analysis, right? So what do all the time frames look like for us at the moment? And so that's a lot of time what I look at. So if you take a look at the 4 hour time frame, for example, and I think quite a few people have referred to this already, the right now what we're seeing is that we are tagging the lows of the last 4 hour candle. And so what does that mean for us, right? Essentially what we're looking for obviously is we're going to see if we're looking for a bull case, we're looking to see if we can tag and go and continue moving forward. But as of right now, when we take a look at the way the candles are forming, this is pretty bearish to be perfectly honest. And the fact that we're closing and holding below Globex also kind of gives me a sense of like this is going to be tough. And so when I'm looking at this already, and I'm thinking like if I do want longs, let's just say that with this huge uptrend, I really, really don't want to short. What I would be looking for is for us to reclaim certain areas on the chart for us to want to take longs. And so, for example, something like this, I would want to reclaim back above Globex before I would even be interested in taking longs. So I made a comment earlier on with a couple of students as well. Before I hopped on stream, the chart was actually over here, and I'm just going to zoom back over here so it's easier for you guys to look at. We were kind of hovering in this area, and I made a comment like I would love to longs the 200 EMA, but I need to wait for a candle confirmation, right? And the reason why I said that was because you can't just long or short every single time something taps an EMA or taps a line or whatever it may be, right? So for me, it was a matter of reclaiming back above the prior highs. And once we did, I did enter a long and I did capture that move up here and I sold off. Now, I unfortunately, no, I was not holding, so I did not catch this big wick up. But that's all good. I mean, on the end of the day, what we're trying to do as traders is just capture a piece of the pie, right? So hopefully that kind of answers a little bit of that as well. But generally for me, levels, opening prints, I like what I like to call areas of interest. I usually kind of mark those out on the hourly time frames. Those are kind of the things I would look at in terms of like what spots on the chart I'm looking at. Otherwise, everything that you may have probably heard already, right, when it comes to like bar by bar analysis, multi-time frame analysis, those are all the things that I would look for in my trade setups. I think probably the one thing that's a little bit additional that I do is I use EMAs, which I think that not everyone uses them. Now, I want to make sure that I also emphasize that when I say I use EMAs, I don't mean that I literally let the EMA tell me where I take my trades. That is not why I use them. Uh, EMAs are technically considered lagging indicators. So it's telling you what's already happened, right? And so what a lot of times what I do is I'll read the price bar by bar and I'll find confluence in different time frames. Once I have structure, trend, bar by bar, once all of those type of things align for me, that's when I'll actually then say, okay, you know what? Everything's looking pretty good. What's the EMA telling me as well? And when that all comes together, that's generally when I like to take and execute my trade. And a good example of that here, and I'll kind of just show you guys here. This was I know there's a lot of these colored lines, and you're probably like, what the heck am I looking at here? This right here was a very clean short setup, and that's why one of my students there, Baljeet, had taken it as well. On top of all the time frame things I mentioned earlier, we also had a 9 EMA cross on the 5-minute time frame, which kind of acts as that like additional conviction to add into the trade. So the 9 EMA cross might not be the reason why we took the trade, but it gives you an additional amount of conviction to have executed that trade, which is why I'm not surprised when I went long, because I went long before the 9 EMA cross, but once that crossed, I was like, yeah, I'm probably gonna get stopped out, and I did, and it's all good. It's part of the game. Um, that's actually why I don't copy trade as well, gang. I think a lot of you guys probably do copy trade, and I'm probably one of the weirdos that don't do that. I don't copy trade because I personally like to, again, like I said earlier, have as many bullets in the chamber as possible. So that's the reason why I don't copy trade. I'd rather have 5 accounts and have 5 shots at the market than 1 shot at the market with 5 accounts. Just personal opinion. I'm just reading through the log again to see if I missed anything else. Thanks, Jeremy, for the kind words, man. Family values are important to me, man. I trade under a business. I do. But I'm in Canada, so I don't know how it differs in the US. So it makes sense for me based on how I have it set up. Again, that's the reason why I said the prop firm kind of makes a little bit more sense because a prop firm payout versus like trading derivatives on the market is a little bit different, at least from what my accountant has told me for me. So, but definitely please don't take that for a grain of salt because I have no idea how that works in other parts of the world. I love that question that you just asked there, Giant Wave, about spend. So that's actually what I talked about that in my year end video as well. So I think that's such an important thing to talk about when we talk about prop firms. And I want to dive into this a little bit more actually, because from a psychology standpoint, in the same way that we talk about our multiple on the market. So if you're risking like, $100 to make $300, prop firm expense, I view it very similarly in the same way. So I have no concern about spending and buying accounts. Like, I mean, to be perfectly honest, that's part of the game, right? But I also know that as far as my edge and my expected value as a trader, I know what my output's going to be when I do that. And so if I take a look at the average of 2025 out of the $880,000 in payout, I had about 30% of that was expense. And so when you take a look at that, you might think to yourself, like, Alan, that's a lot of money. Because if someone were to ask me today, like, hey, Alan, how much money do you spend on prop firms? And I would say, oh, I spent quarter million last year. They'd be like, holy, you spent a quarter million. That's insane. Like, what's wrong with you, right? But the reality is that I'm not spending a quarter million in one shot, right? You're spending, you're making, you're spending, you're making, right? And so over the course of that time, you're gonna, as long as you end up positive, that's kind of what you're going for, right? And so for me, I was still net positive. If you think about a risk to ratio perspective, that's still about, what is it, a 2.5 R in terms of my expense ratio. And the thing is, if I take a look at my record as well, it was the first quarter of the year where I kind of like spent the most. So if you want to talk about like not negative R, but where I spent a lot and didn't and I, at the same time may have made a lot, but I didn't make enough to be super 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 positive. That's where a lot of it came. As I continued on throughout 2025, my performance got better and better, which also meant that my ratios got a lot better. So right now, if I were to take a look at the first quarter of this year, my expense ratio for prop firms is like 10% right now. So it's a lot lower than it used to be. So anyways, it's just my 2 cents on that one. I'm more than happy to chat about that, but I think that type of stuff is has a lot to do with our mentals management as well. No, I'm not live only on Tuesday nights. I am gonna be on basically for me. So where I am in Vancouver, that's gonna be Sunday night, all the and then all the way till Thursday nights. So 5 days a week, I will be trading this session. And Jake and I talked about this as well. If we feel like there's more action in the later periods, I will extend it to a later period. And yes, thank you for highlighting that, Oscar, because I will emphasize that as always. N- Not financial advice. Always seek your own accountant and financial advisor. It's funny that Vandre about the credit card points. Absolutely, man. That's why I don't mind either, to be honest, right? Like the amount of points that you can rack up as well. I mean, that could pay for a trip in itself. Not saying that I'm encouraging people to spend money on credit cards, but I'm just saying that's a nice benefit. Jake, get some sleep, man. What's wrong with you, bro? Just reading through copy trading. So yeah, I use separate accounts, man. So I know it seems kind of crazy, and so what I'll talk about this as well, because a lot of people ask me about this. And apologies, I'm getting over a cold at the moment. When I'm trading multiple accounts, there are essentially what happens sometimes is if there is like an A plus plus setup, what I'll likely do is I'll enter trades on multiple accounts. It's not copy traded, but I'll like take one trade on Top Step, one trade on Take Profit Trader Pro, and then one trade on Lucid or something like that. You know what I mean? Like I'll do that, but I'll never sync all of them together and take them. And again, like I said, it's a mentals management thing for me. I feel better knowing that I have more bullets in the chamber, and it helps me come out on top. So if you've been following me on Instagram and you've seen my YouTubes as well, you probably think like, how does this guy not have losing days? I have losing days. As you saw earlier, I took a losing trade. It happens. But because I have so many accounts, I could lose one trade, two trade, three trades. But let's just say for the other six accounts that I have, if I win on all the other six accounts, I'm still going to be green on the day. So that's a big reason for why I like having more accounts. Now, as I say that though, I think where the caveat and the tough part comes into play with that is that for a lot of traders, when they have more accounts, they might feel more compelled to also trade more. And so I think that's where my discipline comes into play. Is like I do know when to stop, and I'm okay when to stop as well. You'll find that if you trade a lot of accounts individually, you will you will feel compelled to take more trades than you probably should. But honestly, from just experience, I know kind of when to stop and hold myself back. But that's why I say that it's important to be able to rotate your accounts and what have you. And that's honestly how I survive in the game for as long as I have as well. Hopefully that answers that question. Mental management change over time. Um, how does my mental management change over time? Well, I mean, I think that like the tilt never goes away. I think that's the one thing I'll say. I think everyone always kind of gets curious, like, oh, do you ever get over it? Do you ever, does tilt ever just continue like disappear from your life? I don't think that's possible. I think for myself, if anything, you just learn to deal with it better. And if anything, this is where I say, like, when we talk about like developing processes and systems for trading, you need to know yourself as a trader, right? Being able to create coping mechanisms or whatever that may be to help you manage your tilt. That's actually how I started this whole individual account rotation thing, right? It started because of the fact that I said, hey, you know what? Um, I know that if I lose all my accounts in one trade, I will degen and I will tilt. And I know that about myself. So knowing that about myself, why would I keep putting myself in that situation? And that's the reason why, that's just one example of why I actually started doing this rotation of accounts, because I know I mentally cannot handle losing that many accounts all in one go. If you actually see, that's another thing too. Like I haven't like again, I posted this a long time ago, but I can't trade with Apex anymore because I'm already capped out with them because I got my max payout, and then the account that I got the max payout from, I lost the account already, so I can't buy new accounts anymore. But in terms of like that, for example, I don't know too many people who had done what I did. I know a lot of people have made 60, 80, $100,000 trading Apex with 20 accounts because it's a culmination of like 20 accounts to achieve the profit. But for myself, when I achieved my $80,000 payout with Apex, I did that with one account. So that wasn't done across scaling 20, that was done with one account. And so I take a lot of pride in that because not only did I survive a long time with that account, but it showed me that if with real capital, I have the ability to scale to that degree. And when I use the example of real capital is because if I was able to turn my account into an $80,000 payout with one account, I could do that with a real life funded account. Because in real life, you don't can't there's no copy trading. Like you're like it doesn't really make sense. You're not gonna open 5 options brokerage account and copy trade off. Like I don't even know how that even makes any sense, right? So that's why I talk a lot about individually trading, just giving you the rhythm, the ammunition to continue to take trades in the market. Hopefully that makes sense. Nice to meet you. In terms of trailing out positions, yeah, I mean, I do. I do. I think that like depending on what kind of setup we have, what I'll generally like to do is I'll trim. So I'll trim for like 2R, and then I'll trim for like 4R or whatever that may be. It depends on how many contracts I go in with too, right? Generally I will. As far as stop loss goes, I do not micromanage my stop loss. I leave my stop loss where it is. And when I say that, it just means that like, for example, let's just say that I was in a trade right now, right? And let's just say that let's just say I shorted that short trade when I mentioned that I would have wanted to short. And let's just say my stop loss was, I don't know, up here, say 28 points. And as of right now, I would have had 28 points already. And let's just say from here, I'm like, you know what? I want to trim for 1R. And let's say I had two contracts or whatever, right? I'll trim one at 1R and then I'll still leave this at my stop loss until this maybe pushes down and gets to maybe about 2R or so. And at that stage, I might move it either halfway or I'll move it to break even. So the reason why I do that is because depending on the chart setup and how we formed it, it will decide whether or not moving it to break even makes sense. A lot of my students will know I don't like to move stops to break even often. And the reason, and they've seen it over and over again, there have been so many trades that I've been able to bank on, and even some of my record trades that I've banked on because I didn't move it to break even. Because sometimes price will retrace back to where your entry was before it continues that second move. And so I'm not a big fan of moving stop losses to break even unless price and market makes sense for me to do so. Just think about it this way: the more you micromanage your trades, the less understanding you will have of your expected value because you're constantly manipulating the outcome of your trade. So, my 2 cents on that. And yeah, and that question, why don't I copy trade if I with such a high win rate? It's like that paradox. I have a high win rate because I don't copy trade. If I copy traded, I would not have a high win rate because what will happen is that as much as I want to believe that I can be mechanical and push on this, I just know that if I lose 5 trades in one trade, I can't mentally digest that. Like I already know that about myself. Like if it's like if you're addicted to something, right? Like don't tempt the addict, right? Like remove yourself from the situation. And so for me, not copy trading, that's removing myself from the situation. So hopefully that makes sense. Sorry guys. I think that question about, how do I move to that stage of as a trader? I mean, like I said, I think everyone's at a different pace, but when we talk about things like strategy, edge, all that, I mean, I think there's a lot of different things. I've used the word expected value even before trading, and when I usually talk about expected value, I say this, and this is going to be very random, but I do a lot of coaching also in life, so not just trading. Like take trading out of the equation, even in the business world, I actually coach entrepreneurs and all that. What I like to say often is like, what is your brand, right? So I want you guys to really think about that. What is your brand? And why am I asking this question about what is your brand? Because if you were a corporate employee or whether you're an entrepreneur, if I was going to hire you, if I was going to say I was going to take you on and invest in your business, you have to tell me why you're worth it. And just telling me that, oh, I'm an amazing guy and I've got this big vision, big goals, and blah, 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 it doesn't mean you're the right person. What I need to see is what makes you so different, what sets you apart from every other corporate employee I'm going to hire or promote, or every other entrepreneur out there. Every single person has come to me saying the same thing. What makes you so different? And what comes back down to is you have to understand yourself well enough to be able to pitch whatever that may be. And so understanding your expected value means understanding what types of setups. So now kind of pivoting back to trading. Sorry, when it comes to trading, understanding what conditions do you fare the best in. Are you a trend trader? Are you a range trader? Are you a high R multiple trader? Are you a scalper? These are things you have to be very honest with yourself about, right? Because if you're not honest with yourself about it, then your output will also be very very chaotic. It would not be consistent. So this is the reason why, like, there's a lot of social media out there that kind of plasters one-liners, and there is value in those one-liners, but if you don't understand how to interpret that into your own life, then it just becomes very difficult to comprehend and execute upon. And what I mean by that is that I know some traders be like, have a simple strategy. If you have a simple strategy, you'll be an amazing trader, and they're not wrong. Simple strategy would be great, but what does that even mean though, right? So I think that sometimes, like, if you could just find one thing and really focus on that one thing, in terms of style, and just repeatedly execute that strategy every session, every day, what comes of it, right? And that's going to help you better understand yourself so that you're able to actually, put your best work in, if that makes sense. Hopefully, I mean, I feel like I ramble forever. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm doing my best to answer the question. Uh, Yeah, with that question about getting maxed out, it basically means a lot of prop firms, once you've capped out with them, they don't let you trade sim anymore. Especially so for me, because of where I am, I can't actually move live in a lot of cases because the platforms that are used for prop firms, they don't have that option for where I am in Vancouver, Canada. So that's actually the reason why I get capped and I don't get moved live. Anyways, that's the reason why. If you guys are wondering why I keep saying I get capped, that's why. No, I don't copy trade evals. Yeah, right, guy. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't know if I answered your question earlier. Yeah, yeah. I'm not from here. I'm not from the US, that's why. So I can't move live. If I had the option to move live, that would be a very different conversation. Honestly, if I ever run out of prop firms, I just trade my own funded. It's not a big deal. It's I'm blessed. I would say that prop firms, man, are huge. Like sorry. Prop firms are huge, guys. Like I think that, like, it's the best thing that's ever happened. I don't ever like to say regrets because, like, obviously everything happens for a reason. But if I had prop firms in my life in the early part of my journey trading, probably wouldn't have burnt as much capital as I did. But I mean, that's all part of the process in the end of the day. I mean, today we have the opportunity to actually spend what, like $100, $200, and have the potential to turn that account into $2,000, $3,000, right? So that's pretty huge. I mean, I think the challenge a lot of times for many of us is just the greed factor, right? I mean, I think the running joke is, like, you're literally a day from payout and you blow your account, right? Like, the greed just always gets the best of us, and I think that's a lot of times the challenge in that. So yeah, yeah, I did take a trade earlier today, so I'll show it. This is actually something I kind of broke down as well. So earlier today on the New York session, and I'm just going to move away. Sorry, apologize if you guys are in the middle of trading and you guys are counting on that. So this was the news candle that we had coming into the day, right? And so again, I'm not a news trader, but generally what I like to do is I use the news candles kind of similarly to how a person would use the orb as an opening range breakout. And so you can see the moment I drew this visual, it became quite obvious what I was trying to refer to. The way that price broke above and then retested, I essentially longed the retest of the news high. And so I took my long trade off of this here, and I caught my move from here all the way to the top here, and I sold that. I didn't hold for that long, to be perfectly honest, on the market, because again, uh, New York sessions are not ideal for me, just based on all of my family obligations and all that. I think my entry was actually up here. It wasn't that early on. But anyways, like, a simple trade. Like, if you were to, if had you gone for 1R, this would have been 35 points. 35 points would have been right here, for example. That would have been a 1R trade right there. And even 2R would have been very much within reason, right? So this is where it would have been a really nice setup for us here. So that's the trade that I took. That was the only one and done trade. But to be honest, the reason why this move honestly even made sense, and we talked about this a lot, is that if you've been through the mastermind, you know what we're talking about. There were basically barely any levels above us today. So like it gave us the sense that it was just going to likely be potentially just free reign all the way to the top, and it essentially did that. Um, but I didn't unfortunately get to sit around and watch it, so I don't doubt that a lot of people banked today on this trade. Biggest turning point in my trading career, I think I had turning points at every point. And I say that because like when I was trading small caps, I was, you know, I don't want to say small caps was easy because it wasn't easy, but the losses were a little bit more manageable. And I'm gonna say that I actually kind of picked up some degenerate behaviors when I was trading small caps, and I'm gonna explain what I mean by that. So unlike options, right? You where like your contract can literally go to zero. Um, on small caps, like say you buy a share for $4 and it goes down to 360. Well, you can always dollar cost average. And so there were periods in time when I was trading small caps where I would dollar cost average probably more than I probably should have. But that actually saved me from losing my account because I wasn't sized so high. So I was always able to dollar cost average. But the problem with that was that I was essentially enabling my behavior of saying that it's okay to it was okay to not lose. Like basically, sorry, let me rephrase that again. I was encouraging myself that even if I took a losing trade, that's okay, and I should keep doubling down on a losing trade. And I don't think that's ever a good idea. So that was like a bad behavior I picked up when I was trading small caps. But I didn't really actually have a really bad run back at that time because I was essentially trading momentum stocks. But my biggest trade when I traded small caps was a name called HKD, and I think it was back in 2021 or 2022. I can't remember what it was anymore, but it was a crazy trade. It was my first 5-figure trade ever, and it was done with small caps as well, which was huge. And I believe that's when Andrew, like Stock Market Wolf, that's when he achieved his first $1 million day trade with small caps as well. It was pretty crazy, but yeah, that was that. But turning point wise, man, like I think I had my ebbs and flows, even in options. The MM Discord or the Reg Discord will always remember me as the Tesla trader. I would always trade Tesla primarily. Like that was my bread and butter. Short Tesla, long Tesla, short Tesla, long Tesla, right? Like that was my go-to. And so I had my runs at that time. And I think that where I found my success in that arena was I was simplifying it. I wasn't constantly trading multiple different assets. That's actually where I learned that, you know what, if I just trade one and I just trade it very well, I'm gonna have a higher probability as an individual than trading multiple. I think it's a huge skill that Jake has. The fact that he can switch between names and trade them like that is insane. Like I personally can't do that. Um, which I kind of carried that forward into futures, which is why for me, when I trade futures now, people ask, oh, why don't you trade ES? Why don't you trade gold? Why don't you trade oil? It's too many things for me to keep track of. I like the NQ. It works for me, so I just kind of stick with it. So, yeah. And I know someone made a comment about a failure. I actually like this bounce here. I would watch to see if we can reclaim back above Globex again. I like this area because of that last higher high. So you can kind of see here during our New York session recently. I'm just gonna draw a visual box here. We had this area here that was a higher high, and then over New York, it acted as a higher low. Coming into this, you can see here we're bouncing off that area again. So I really like this move up right now. So longs make a lot of sense to me, to be honest, right here. And I would be open to taking it. Today, to be honest, tonight, it's not a big deal if I don't take a lot of trades. I actually want to just get to know you guys and share a little bit about who I am because we're gonna be doing this all year long, 365, right? So you guys will have plenty of opportunity to watch me take trades. But anyways, this is a good setup though. I do like what we're doing here and what we're setting up here for. Generally speaking, I don't like so. What I'll show you here as well. The only reason why I wouldn't take this exact trade immediately, like why I wouldn't enter right now, is because structurally speaking, it does not look clean for me to take. And what I mean by structurally does not look clean. If you think about it right now, we are setting in lower highs and lower lows. And so personally for me, if I really wanted to take a long here, I would much prefer that we break above and probably reject VWAP because it likely will do that. retest the 200 EMA, for example, and then continue higher. Like that's probably what I would want to see. I wouldn't prematurely hop into this because I think that you'll get wrecked essentially. So understanding that structure component is pretty important. I know sometimes people will be like, well, but what if I miss the move? Well, you know, are you trying to just capture a move, or are you trying to capture a trade? Because you can't replicate a move, right? So I think it's important for us to kind of acknowledge that. duh, 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 duh. When would I consider myself a profitable trader? Actually, my man Leto, that's in the chat there, kind of educating on the whole prop firm stuff. He's been like a big supporter of my growth and my journey. And believe it or not, he hears me say this all the time. Yes, I by calculation, I am a profitable trader. But believe it or not, even at this stage right now, I'm not at that stage where I'm like, oh yeah, I'm really, really, really good. And the only reason why I say that is because I've been trading for 5 years. I've been consistently successful for 2 of those 5 years. But when I think about trading, there are so many cycles to a market. It's kind of similar to a business. And so I haven't traded all cycles. Like I've traded the Biden administration and I've traded the Trump administration. But that's not enough for me to really understand the market, so to speak. And maybe I'm just being a little hard on myself, but that's the reason why for me, like until I can have 4 5 years of like these, not necessarily like $800,000 years, but like it's just 6 figures, just consistently profitable, right? If I could do that for 4 to 5 years, that's where I'll be like, you know what, I'm in a really good place now. I think I have a really good handle on things, not just in my chart read and execution, but my ability to navigate the market conditions, right? Because market conditions play a big factor in that. I've had so many people, so many students come to me say, "Hey, Alan, like I've been moved live before, I've gotten payouts before, and for some odd reason, these past 8 months, I can't get a payout." And the moment I start diving into the journal notes and I start diving into their market conditions with them, I start to realize that, or they start to realize after some questions and conversations, like, oh, okay, then I didn't really understand the market as well as I thought I did, and that's the reason why like I said, I like coaching, right? It's because it's like the feeling and the euphoria of watching light bulbs go off when you're having these conversations is so cool, and I learned the love of like helping others do that back during like my corporate career, right? Because I mean, I've coached and I've developed so many corporate executives in my time, and much of them are still in their positions today, constantly getting promoted in their companies. Um, but that was something that I just really, really enjoyed, right? So, do you have specific time windows you trade? Yeah, I guess so. Now that with the daylight savings time, that kind of changes things a little bit based on like volume. So I don't trade the Globex Open. I like to trade the Tokyo Open, which is usually it's 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, but now with daylight savings, it's 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But normally, if you were to though, that would be like sorry. Once you go back to the other time zone, it would be 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I usually like to trade the Tokyo Open period just because there's a little bit more direction. Like I find that Globex Tokyo is almost kind of like it's priming the move before the move finally happens. So I generally like that period. Otherwise, like this period that we're talking about right now, I usually do not trade this period at all. And again, it's not. It might not be because of the fact that it's not a good time to trade, but because just for my life wise, it's not convenient. So it's why I don't trade it. I actually find London Open to be quite smooth, right? Like the London Open period is pretty solid. Like, and this is the reason why I found so much success trading Asia and trading London. Like where I said 90% of it came from that last year, was because I just found that if Globex trended, it would trend well. Same with London, right? Like once you catch a trend move, it trends very well, and I like that, and that's the reason why like I traded those sessions more than New York. And I remember during those times when was finding those successes, I felt like there was more indecisive days on New York than there were in Asia. So that's the reason why, like, anyways, I had chosen that more. But these days for New York, if you were asking me what I like prefer trading, for sure I don't trade before the first 15 minutes. Ideally, if you can wait till like 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is basically 30 minutes after the New York Open, that becomes a better time to trade, at least personally that I find. And then outside of that, the hours that I would also pay attention to is the 8:30 PST as well. And that's the reason why I say that is because that's when London closes. And so you'll find that if you look at the chart, there's generally some good moves that come from that, from the London close. Otherwise, power hour would be it. So, but if you were to ask me, what would I pick? Would I pick the 7 a.m., 8:30 a.m., or power hour? Power hour would be the least of my favorites, to be perfectly honest. I prefer the 7 to 8:30 a.m. period more personally. Oh, thanks for the compliment, man. This is my first stream, so I honestly don't know what to make of it. I actually I worried about this stream a little bit just because like I'm not a eccentric person. I've seen some YouTube streamers and they're very like, you know, all over the place, entertaining. I'm not the most entertaining guy. I just like talking charts and reading charts and just coaching in general. That's where kind of where my passion lies, which you could probably tell from how often I can ramble. So the question of do you do your own things besides Project 365? Please elaborate what you mean by that. Just because this is day one of 365, so I'm not really too sure what that question means. Globex is basically the first opening session for futures, and so that's 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's called Globex because it's the first opening of all sessions. Sorry, the first opening of all sessions. Would you take longs under the 200 EMA? You can, but I mean, right now I wouldn't. Again, it structurally has to make sense too, right? If I saw a nice structure shift, then I would be okay with it, but not right now. That's the reason why I made the comment. So I don't know when you hopped onto the stream, but that's the reason why I made the comment that I would like to see something like this, essentially, before I would want a long. I'm just going to leave that arrow there just in case anyone else hops on and asks the question later as well. When we are trading around no levels, what comes to fall back onto? Yeah, if we don't have levels, man, I mean, I just trade structure, right? Like I just take a look at what structure is doing, and I kind of would go off of that. So like right now, for example, if there's no levels or anything like that, then I'm gonna look at previous price and to see where they respected, right? That's generally how I would go about it. And then the EMAs honestly will help you kind of gonna guide that along the way. Like if this was a full on trending day, I'll switch over to the 5 minute time frame. Like if you take a look at the New York session, for example, we never really lost the 9 EMA, right? Like we probably had a pullback a couple times here and there, but other than that, like we just rode the 9 all the way to the top, right? So really obviously subjectively depends, but that'd be my 2 cents on that. Like even right now, you can see here that we are pulling up to the 9 and we're hugging the 9 now. So if this was to be a trend down, for example, and again, the EMAs are just there as visual help for us, but this would be one of those things where like if you were taking a look at this, okay, like we were saying in lower highs, lower lows, we're hugging the 9, we're not breaking back above the 9, we're below Globex. Like there's so many reasons for you to be like, okay, maybe I should still hold my shorts. Would this necessarily be something that I would short like right now? Might not be, but if you're holding a short, you might want to continue holding it because it's looking good for you, right? So Jake, seriously, dude, get some sleep, man. I was not expecting you to still be messaging at this time. Yeah, I'm sick. I'm so sick. I was like telling my wife, I was like, man, of course I'm like I get sick literally 24 hours before my first live stream. You guys can bear with me though. Yeah, your question about London. So London, you know what's weird? London's probably the one session that I'm okay actually taking off the open. And the reason why I say that is that like, and we'll see. Like, I know my stream stops at midnight, and I don't know if it hard stops or if I shut it off. I probably should have asked Jake this question earlier. Jake, if you're watching, maybe you can let me know that. But in terms of the London Open, usually I find that if we are like creating a double top or like a double bottom or something like that at the London Open, it generally, and don't quote me on this, but it generally executes quite well. So like if I see that I have a short setup lining up right before the London Open, I usually would be fairly interested in actually taking that because it'll work out quite well. My 2 cents. EMAs, I got the 9. You probably could. I don't. Oh yeah, I guess it's pretty hard to see on the stream. I've got the 9, the 20, the 50, and the 200. So these three colored lines is the 9, 20, and 50, and then the 200 EMA is the dotted line. Again, it's there, and for some people it could be very distracting. But again, like I said, it's a lagging indicator. For me, it's just about extra confluence, and that's it. I do not execute off the EMAs. I want to make that very clear. Jake, I saw that you said you gave me codes. Let's see. Hey, Ron G. Okay, you're still awake. Thanks for answering that question about the stream, Ron. I was just gonna say I've never done a giveaway on live stream before, so I have no idea how to even do that. So I do have codes, but might need some guidance on how to do that. Yeah, in terms of how do I manage fear, it's crazy, but you know all the questions that we've been having around like psychology, right? Like the whole how do you manage tilt, how do you manage fear, you know, how do you confidently execute? I mean, they all kind of align to the same thing, which is like, do you know your expected value? I know it sounds so repetitive, and it probably kind of is, but it really is that. Like you really have to know what your edge is on the market, and that will help because like when you think like 1 plus 1 is 2, right? And so when you know your probability rate on the market for how you trade is what it is, well, it's kind of hard for you not to be like, okay, well, I know that 7 out of 10 times this works. So if it doesn't work, then it's all good. I still got 7. I still got 9 other times where I know the other 7 of them are most likely going to work in my favor. So I think understanding your expected value is really, really key. Volume, I don't focus on volume, but I do watch volume. And the reason why volume is important is because when you see volume take place at price, like for example, like right now there's low volume still at the moment, but if I see very high volume come in out of nowhere, then it kind of gives me a little bit of an indication and understanding because I don't have like order flow or any of those other things that people use. That just kind of gives me a sense like, okay, well there's a lot of interest in this area, right? Like right now, I mean, we could be, again, could be is the big word, double bottoming here at that higher high from New York session, right? So we could be setting up here. But again, I don't want to just take it, right? I don't want to just blindly take a long trade, but you could take a long trade right now off a double bottom off of this if this was like part of your playbook setup, right? Dow Jones. I do not trade actually the Dow Jones or the Russell. I know nothing about that actually. if you have been following me long enough, you will probably think the same thing, that I probably don't sleep. I work ridiculous hours. As an entrepreneur, I can't help it. Oh, so that's how the giveaway works, eh? You guys are too hilarious, man. You guys are too hilarious. I don't know how you guys do it. Ron, like, kudos to you, bro. I know you've been like streaming for like months now. I don't know how you watch the chart and watch the chat at the same time. Like, that's crazy, dude. Like, this is so much to go back and forth. This is gonna take some getting used to. Yeah, I wish there was a bot though, Ron, to select the. I feel like no matter who I don't pick, I'm gonna get a lot of hate for not picking that person. How do I see how many likes I have? Yeah, I guess like up the chat, guys. Like up the chat. I don't know. I wasn't really sure how many views we were gonna get tonight because, like, not only is it our first one, but it's also because of the fact that this is a very late in the day, and I think this is like uncharted territory for a lot of people. Even though this is kind of like our bread and butter, but that's some good advice, Ron. That's some good advice. That is some good. Oh, by the way, guys, I don't know if you guys have ever done this before on TradingView. You see the top left hand corner, guys? If you guys have never done this before, I totally strongly suggest it. Actually, a couple of my students do it now. Because one of the big things about trading, and as far as edge goes, is your speed of execution, right? So the top left hand corner here, if you guys haven't done it before, set your quick links. Like, you'll see here what I have here: 15 points, 35 points, 60 points. Basically, all this means is that if I decide to enter a trade, instead of me going like this and setting the box to decide where my target's going to be, I have them all predetermined here already. So the moment I click on them, it automatically enters a trade for me. Right? So just to kind of demonstrate with you guys, because I have an eval set up right now, so I'm okay messing around with this just for the demonstration purposes. Like, if I want to enter a trade right now, so I say I want to get a 15-point trade, and we're gonna take one contract here, right? Basically, it automatically puts in the trade setup. I just need to fix the stop loss thing on this though. It automatically locks in the trade like that. And sometimes what I'll do is, now that I'm in the trade, I'll just hover over it just to make sure it is actually at 15 points, and it is, right? And 15 points. So there you go. This is like a 1 hour trade, for example, right? I like using this button because it makes a big difference. So if you guys aren't doing this already, I totally recommend it. It saves a lot of time. Again, speed of execution is so critical. I have actually hit some pretty fast scalps before doing this, and I say this not because I scalp all the time, because I don't do it often, but, like, for example, like when you see that volume that comes out with the opening, the New York opening, this kind of helps sometimes. Like, I've had moments where, like, the volume was such a strong push off the open that when I entered a long, it automatically like hit my TP within like 2 seconds, right? And that's not something that would have been possible, or would have been super risky if I just did a random market order, right? So anyway, just FYI, guys, like, that's just an option for you guys. Oh dear Lord. Thanks for hopping on, guys. I really appreciate it. I'm long on NQ. Well, I am long on this eval. It's not actually a real long though. It's just, like I said, if you're just hopping on right now, I wouldn't long right off like this, because, like, yes, larger time frame. Why we're playing on the intraday, we're playing on the larger time frame longs and the strength. But I don't, because we're below the Globex opening print right now, and we are sitting in lower highs and lower low structures. I would like for us to break structure first. Those following long will know that I love my double bottom setups. So ideally, Let's just drag this over here. Drag this over here. This is what I'd like to see. Something like that, you know? I know some people are like, oh, but you missed the move. Yeah, it's all good. I'd rather take a more high conviction setup than just try to catch along for the sake of catching along. I am just gonna keep this thing here though, just because it's already entered, and I don't want to manually close it. So if I get stopped out, I get stopped out. If not, not a big deal. Yes, we are gonna do account giveaways on stream. Yeah, I know Europe. I had a feeling, you know, actually it's been really weird. I have quite a few students actually from Singapore and from Europe. And so like I actually think again, I could be wrong, but I actually think personally I have a bigger following on the other side of the world than I do on my own. And it's probably because of the fact that I trade the Asia and the London session more than I trade the New York. Ninja Trader desktop. I'm gonna say no because I don't even know what that is. I personally have not. I like to use TradingView personally. I've used Trade-of-8 before, which I've been burnt way too many times on Trade-of-8 because apparently sometimes I leave open orders, which I don't ever recall doing that, but it happens, and then I lose accounts, and yeah, I don't like that feeling. Yeah, I actually went to Singapore last year with my family. This was part of my crazy trip because I went to Disneyland in Hong Kong with my kids. That was the second Disneyland we visited, and we went to Singapore as well. I actually visited one of my people that I work with in trading as well. It was pretty cool to actually meet him. I don't know if he's on right now. His name's Ace, but yeah, cool guy, man. Sure. I mean, I don't mind doing a giveaway right now. Ron, you do I guess I just pick a random name? Is that how this works? Oh, spam the chat, guys. Spam the chat. Spam the chat. I'm gonna put a 10-second counter here. Wow, damn. You guys weren't kidding. Okay, I got a name. This name? Hold on. Oh crap, how do I do this? I don't want to lose the person's name. Ron. Sanchez. This guy. Oh dear lord. Ron, I have a name. Sanchez. I lost his name now though. I don't know where his name went. Did you see him? All right. All right, stop spamming, guys. Stop spamming, guys. I picked a random name earlier. This guy. I'm using Rake's YouTube to respond. That's not actually Rake messaging. That's me. Ron, you got that name? Leto? Don't even, bro. Don't even. I'm not good with technology, okay, guys. I'm not a young buck. Is he still on though? Someone just said that he left. I don't know. I don't even know how to tell if he left. Oh no, he is on. Okay, there you go. It's in Discord streams chat. Discord stream chat. Let's see. Oh, nice. Thanks, Ron. Sounds great. All right, Sanchin, you saw that, right? Awesome, thanks. I will send you the code afterwards because I'm trying to figure out how to multitask all this right now. I don't even want to hop on my phone right now to look at anything else. So I've got the code. I got your name. I'll definitely send it to you afterwards, okay? Yeah, follow me on Instagram. If you guys like food as well, highlight FYI guys, me, I'm big on family, family values. Like I can't even explain how big I am on family values. It's one of the big reasons why I'm not rolling around in a Lamborghini or anything like that. Like I will bring my family, my loved one, my close friends. I would bring them around the world well before I ever buy a Lamborghini. Like it just that's important to me. That's always been important. It's if you knew how I grew up, you'd understand why. Secondly, as well, I'm a big foodie. I love food. I love to eat. When I travel, it's all about food for me, man. So um, if you follow me, you'll see me post a lot about food. Just FYI. Yeah, man. I'm all about the food. I actually, a lot of people, a lot of the close people in my community actually had asked me before too, like, oh, like you gonna look for a car? I did. I tried. I actually walked into Porsche a couple months back, or Porsche, sorry, that's the proper way to say it. I actually walked into it, and I was looking for because I've been talking about this a lot. I don't. If I'm gonna drive a sports car, I don't want an automatic sports car. You know, I want a car I can shift gears with. Like I'm very old school in that way, and so there's not a lot of car manufacturers that actually offer stick shift anymore. Most of them are all automatic paddle shifters, those type of deal, right? So when I walked into Porsche, like they had a GT3, which is basically a stick shift, right? I was like very close to being like, okay, I can get my dream car. This could be it, you know? But I was like, man, I really can't because just knowing that that 400, $500,000 literally could go to family trips, people who honestly like, you know, like loved ones, charities. Like I haven't really been talking about it yet, and I won't talk about much on this one, but I usually run a fundraiser every year around this time going into May for the Ronald McDonald House charity. So for me, that stuff is more important to me. I don't think it's the biggest deal in the world. Like I don't get me wrong, if I really want to experience a Lambo or Ferrari, I could always just go rent one. But to like have that at home, not important to me. I also know that some people say like, oh, you know, I buy this because it gets me into rooms with bigger people, and I can make I can you know make more money because this car can you know open doors for me for these high net worth guys. But believe it or not, that's not who I want to spend my time around. Actually, I'm not big on that. Like, I don't get me wrong, I have no issues conversing with people who are like that, but you know what the perfect example is, and I know this is totally random. Sorry, no off topic from trading, guys. When people say like, hey, you know, why don't you go to a bar and go meet a girl? And I would say to them is that like I wouldn't go to a bar to meet a girl because I don't drink. You know, and so it's kind of like why would I go meet someone who's supposed to be my life partner when I don't even like to do the things that I'm apparently going to this venue to drink when I don't even like drinking. That's kind of how I look about, you know, the whole car situation and opening doors. I have no interest in working and connecting with those kind of people because that's not where I want to be. I have been able to find success in helping small business owners, entrepreneurs, people who are trying to figure out their corporate career for the first time. Like I'm helping those individuals and I'm already being compensated for doing that. So I'd rather continue to stay in that lane and help those who want it more than anything. That's why I do that, right? Like I don't need a car to open doors for me. I know my expected value as an entrepreneur, as a trader, as a friend. And so personally for me, that's kind of why. And I'm probably gonna end up mentioning this comment quite often. I've been meaning to post the reel about this just so people know who I am, but that's why. Because people always get baffled why I don't have more or have more materialistic thing. That's why. I'll start rambling now because I can ramble about that forever. I'm very passionate about that, as you can probably tell. Mr. Black, McDonald's. Yeah, I gotta lay off the McDonald's too, but my kids love their food too. I always get them cheeseburger Happy Meals whenever I can. I hear what you mean by justifying the expense by renting it out, but I don't like to create work either, right? Like that's just an additional thing I'd have to manage, and so yeah, I'm a really busy dude. When I say I'm a busy dude, I mean like crazy. Like I'm back to back meetings all the time. Like if anything, if it wasn't for the fact of my life partner, I probably wouldn't even stop. Like she's probably a big reason why I actually like slow down and like focus and relaxing once in a while. So yeah, I don't. I'm good. That's the reason why I don't do it either. Yeah, my friend actually went to Italy last year, and he actually went to the, I don't want to butcher this. I don't know if it's called the Ferrari plant or whatever, but it's where they're made. He actually did the whole Ferrari driving experience thing. He told me it was like unreal. He's like he loved Porsches, but man, he's like and he loves Ferrari, but after driving the Ferrari there, he was like sold. He's like, man, that's his dream car for sure. I like Corvettes too, man. I like Corvettes. I actually like I really enjoyed the C7. The C8s are nice. I'm still getting used to the way that the back of that car looks like, but I do enjoy them. Yeah, man. One of my sports cars that I had during my younger years were a Subaru BRZ, and I got it literally for the purpose of the fact that it's the flat motor and the balance and how it's like a little mini go-kart, right? So I can imagine that with the power of a GT3 motor and all that. Yeah, it'd be an insane experience. Props to you, brother, for being a dad. I know how hard it is. Literally before the stream, I had literally just put both my kids to bed and like wiggle out of the bed before coming to this desk here. So we do what we got to do. I think it's so important as parents, man. Like if you, for the parents that are on the stream, man, just remember why you're doing this, right? Like remember why you're doing this. It's not for the materialistic things of the world. I can give a rat's ass about all that stuff, right? It's about being good for for those loved ones around you, because what they'll remember is being present. If I like something that I take a lot of pride in is that I get the drop off my kid like 99% of the time. I drop my kid off for school and I pick him up from school 99% of the time. Not many people my age can say they can do that because unfortunately, and we all got to do what we got to do, but we got to work, right? And so a lot of times for me, when I show up and I pick up my kid, I mean, a lot of the parents that are there, usually they're moms, right? Because like a lot of the times, like their husbands are working, and sometimes there's a little bit of rotation, but they'll always ask me. They're like, "Oh, like Alan, you always pick up your kid. Like, do you not work? Like, how do you make this work?" And I always say, like, honestly, I actually probably work more than most people do, but out of my crazy day, I make time for that, right? Like as family values goes, I get them ready for breakfast. I bring them to school. I pick them up from school. If there are field trips, I will be the driver or whatever that may be for like the class, and I put them to bed. Those are non-negotiables for me. And the cost of me doing that though is that I work ridiculous hours because it just literally means I work every other hour in between all of that to make it work. So like being up at this time, and that's the reason why I told Jake I'll take the slot because like I'm usually up at this time working anyways. So it's not that big a deal. I've just basically pivoted some things around so that I'm streaming now instead of working. But yeah, anyways, a little bit of 2 cents about me. What up, man? What up? It's already, wow, an hour and a half has gone by already. Where does the time go? Just so you guys know, I know it stops at midnight. I will probably stay on for 15 minutes past midnight just because I really want to see how the London market opens. To your question about the chart, so I'm not really too sure about the 1 to 2, 3 days that you're referring to, but essentially what I'm saying here right now is that let's take a look at the session for itself, right? The session for itself right now is worth about 60 to 70 points is my guess. So let's take a look. Okay, more. Oh, sad because we moved a lot lower. Before when we were at Globex, we were about 70%. So 90 points. So we moved 90 points already, right? Anyways, I look at that because I think that's part of like me understanding how much meat on the bone there is on the market because I'm not looking to get the home run. I'm just looking to get a piece of it. But right now, if you take a look at it right now, right, we still have these lower highs, and let me mark this out. Oh, nice target hit. There's 15 points. So if I were to mark it here, so let's just say lower low, lower high. Let's hypothetical, okay? If this was the setup, right, or this is the structure that we're seeing right at the moment, then I would like to see us break back above first, right? So you can see here, I'm going to draw a visual box just for demonstration purposes. I want to see us break back above and test it. So what I would imagine is reject VWAP, come back down, test this for a resistance flip support off the 200 EMA, and see if we can shoot our way back up. Like that's essentially what I would look for. And I think that a lot of times we get caught up in the whole like, oh, you could have taken this, and you're right, you could have, right? Like this double bottom is it's valid. Why not, right? But personally, right now in this indecision, I don't feel a great deal of confidence in it. I do like here right now though, like you see here, we opened and then we pushed and we held above Globex, and now we're pushing up. So I do like this move that we're, excuse me, framing for longs. What markets do I trade? What does that mean? My foundation is Jake. My foundation is Jake, but I have evolved the way that I trade. Just like all the other hosts that you probably have watched already today, we all have a little bit of spin on things. I'm going to sleep after this. I have to be up in like after I log off, I'll have to be up in like 5.5 hours. So you're speaking to my heart, Victoria, with that manga queue. So A plus setup is very it can be very subjective, to be honest. I know it seems kind of silly for me to say that. For me, A plus setup, if I were to kind of high level this, I like it when I have a larger time frame bias. So let's just say hypothetically, right now we see that we're pushing up really, really hard, weekly, daily, those type of things. So we're bullish, let's just say. If I see that we're bullish on the larger time frames, and then on the intraday session, I also find a long setup. That also means things like your structure's looking good, multi-time frame analysis is looking good. You got your reference points, so like the levels and all that type of stuff that we've got going on here, right? And then you have the EMA all coming together. Like that for me is A plus. When all of those stars align, I'm good to go, right? So that's kind of like me explaining it all in a nutshell. Hopefully that kind of gives you an understanding. Which props are you using for high payouts? Yeah, so I've capped out with Tradeify at the 100K. I did that already. Top Step, I guess I'm getting pretty close with Top Step. If I didn't know that they had a cap of 200K actually, so thank you for letting me know. I guess I'm pretty damn close to it now at this point then. Because my record run on Top Step, actually, story about this is part of like this is so much to explain. I'm just gonna cut it short actually, because I feel like I'm around that one forever too. Last year when I was traveling in Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Singapore, I actually traded Top Step for the 3 to 3.5 weeks that I was out there. And I don't know if I still have my booklet actually. Where's that book? You know what? I'll find it another time. I actually traded for 3.5 weeks there with Top Step, and during that time, I actually raked in $125,000 in payouts from Top Step in the 3.5 weeks that I was out there. And there was a lot that it taught me, because I was trading while living in a different time zone. I was trading with the forced ability to stay off screens when I was not trading, because I was with my family traveling. Like there were so many of those facets that came into play. Everything that happened last year for me has formed the system of trading that I have today. It's from life experiences and going through all that. But anyways, that was a big portion of my payout. I think that if I look back at my calendar back in April, I think it was when it was, right? That's where my P&L was like massive. But that was my big payout. It was about 125,000. But these days, Take Profit Trader is a big one for me, where I take a lot of my payouts from. And my most recent one was Lucid, but I capped out with him pretty quickly actually. And more so not because I hit the monetary cap, but because I think they have like when you get request 5 payouts from the one account, it automatically moves you live. I didn't realize, but I had 5 accounts, and because I individually trade all of them, 4 out of my 5 accounts still had 2 more payouts to go. but that one account was already on the fourth payout. So when I requested it for the fifth one, it automatically triggered the move to live. So it moved all of mine to live actually. So that's essentially what happened. But I think I made 61,000 in payouts with, and then that was before the live payout as well. So it was about $75,000 what I got paid out by Lucid. And that was over trading 3.5 months with them. Indicators, 9 EMA, 20 EMA, 50 EMA, 200 EMA. Those are the ones that are in the VWAP. I also have the another indicator. It's more of a proprietary indicator though. It's not like it's just something that I use as well, but it's not like the public one. It's called the FF indicator. I'll just show you quickly here, but it's like hold on, I don't want to screw this up. Yeah. So this is another kind of indicator. I'll share more about this another time. It's a lot to explain, but that's just another indicator that I use as well. Yeah, I closed the NQ hit target already, Rye Guy. The question about buying another eval, was that to me? Oh no. Once you're capped with prop firms, man, you can't. Like again, every prop firm is gonna have its own different rules. But if you're capped with sim funded trading, you can't. So this is actually why I like Lucid. So with Lucid, when they tried to move me live because I couldn't, like again, same thing. I don't have the platform to trade that in Vancouver. They basically what they do is they put me in a cooldown period. So for 4 weeks, I can't trade sim funded. But unlike other prop firms with Lucid, I actually can go back. So basically, at the end of this month, I'll be able to go back to Lucid again and buy evals again or whatever it may be, and I can start trading sim funded with them again. So which is exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm just cooldown period. Ron, thanks for hanging, man. I appreciate it. Get some rest, brother. You've been up all day. So if you're trying to, I would say the question of would you say it's a better time to start with micros or minis directly? Once you get a hang of things and you know what you're doing, you got the drawdown. I'm a minis guy all the way, but obviously because minis are far more expensive, that also means that you have less ammunition, so to speak, to trade the markets. So most of the time, I'm going to say that people should just trade micros because micros is going to give you more shots in the market, and that's essentially what you need when you're still learning how to trade. You don't know really how to trade at this point, right? So it's like it doesn't make a lot of sense for you to just start swinging minis at the fence. And I think that sometimes that's why I say like winning early on can be a curse because if you don't actually understand why you won to begin with, that's going to become your biggest detriment, which is likely going to bring you down a cycle of losing more than anything else. Yeah, I can't trade with Tradeify. I actually reached out when they did their Tradeify competition recently. They had did some announcement where they had just unlocked it, where like, oh, if you go sim funded, you get capped out, you could come back and yada yada yada. I guess because I got capped out before that rule came to place, I stayed capped out, so I couldn't get back in. I actually tried. I wanted to participate in that trading competition because Reg Trades actually had his own team, and I wanted to trade on the team, but I wasn't able to, unfortunately. No, all good, man. All good. I took a demonstration trade earlier, just off the double bottom here for like about 15 points. It's nothing too crazy, man. You didn't miss much. Just chatting right now. A lot of questions from the gang about asking about my perspective, opinions, and all that type of stuff. So yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot of successful traders out there. I mean, I do watch a lot of like the big podcasts on the YouTube with like traders where they make like millions on like prop firms and stuff like that. So I think there's a lot of different people that have different success. Like I'm not I think that sometimes comparison can be the crazy killer for us. I remember actually telling a couple of my students and people that I work with that I'm like, man, they said, Alan, had you actually copy traded your Apex account, you could have multiplied that $80,000 payout times 20, right? Then you would have hit like 1.6 million. I'm like, there's no point in saying could have, because I know for a fact if I copy trade all of them, I wouldn't have been able to make it to begin with. I probably would have degended or tilted or whatever it may have been. So honestly, stay on your own lane. Like that's the reason why you'll notice even on my Instagram, yes, I post monthly P&L recaps. I don't talk about my payouts often. Like I don't. I purposely do not advertise my payouts too often. Those who know me will know. If they want to know, they can check my trader stats. They can check all of that. That's where like I post all of my all the records, like whether it's like a payout, what is it called, payout transactions and those type of things, right? So I generally don't share payouts too much, because I think sometimes it, as much as people say that it inspires them, I think it encourages them sometimes to do the wrong things. Like if I told you that in 3 months, as you guys, I told you guys earlier, if you see that I achieved $250,000 in payouts in 3 months, what are you going to try to do now? You're probably now eager to be like, okay, I'm going to copy trade 100 accounts and try to do the same thing. And it's like, well, you don't know how I got there. I did not copy trade, so that's never a good idea. But it's definitely, yeah. Anyways, that's just kind of my 2 cents on the whole thing. I am assuming, Panka, your question is referring to me. I'm Alan, by the way, not Alex. Managing risk, man. I mean, that's holding trades. I think that's always an interesting one, right? Um, Holding a trade comes down to your confidence in your plan. So let's just say, for example, right now, if in my mind I'm saying, you know what, I think that as we move into the London Open right now, I think that we have the ability to retrace back to the news high. So if that's the case, this double bottom will act as the sweep to move higher. We might set in higher lows from here. Sorry. Like we might do this, right? And so let's hypothetically say if that's our plan right now, then take a look at this, right? That is going to be a 60, let's just call it 60-point trade. So if I were to enter right now, that would be a 60-point trade. And if I were to use the low, that'd be 30 points. So that's believe it or not, even though this looks like a lot, this is basically only a 2-hour trade. But you might ask, like, how would I hold it? Well, if my thesis is that I want a double bottom setup off New York higher high with a move up to test the news high, then I would hold this all the way through, right? And so I think that this comes down to when we talk about setups and what you like and what you know your edge is. If this is a setup that you would take, then you would take this, right? And you would hesitate. You would just let your trade play out. Like Jake this morning was trading gold. Like you probably saw him. He held his trade all the way through. And that's an example of where like he held it because he had a plan and he let his plan play out, right? So very similar in this situation, right? It would be the same thing. So you guys remember what I said earlier? I wanted to see us pull back. We're rejecting off that 200 EMA right now. I would like us to hold Globex to get a sense of continuation in any way or form here. Yeah, Lucid's a great firm, man. JA20SG, solid firm. They are fast payouts. The dashboard's amazing too. Like honestly, I don't have a lot of things to rave about Lucid. I would say Lucid's probably one of the best prop firms in the space at the very moment in time. Like there's every prop firm is gonna have its benefits, guys. Like I like Take Profit Trader because of the daily payouts, but it sucks because it has intraday trailing drawdown, and not a lot of people like that, right? I think Lucid has the most variety of accounts, flexible accounts, fast payouts, right? Like there's a lot of good things about them, and they're very clear about what their rules are, and their lives seems pretty cool. Unfortunately, even though I can't move live, their live seems pretty amazing, to be honest. Tradeify is a really great one up there as well, as far as prop firm goes, right? Like, yeah, every prop firm has their thing, man. Like, I feel like there's always a reason for every single one of them. Like, my funded futures was actually where I started. I posted on my Instagram reel as well. If you follow me on Instagram, you could probably watch it. It's one of my most recent reels I posted, where I like them a lot as well. I mean, they were the first, I think, and don't quote me on this, but I believe they were the first to have fast payouts. Like there was no one in the space at the time that was generating payouts faster than them. And so that was huge for me, right? So I capped out with my fund of futures last year. Last year? No, it was earlier this year. Sorry. No, sorry. Wow, I'm like losing my train of thought. It was last year. I capped out with my fund of futures last year around February because I had hit my $50,000 payout. And then they recently had like introduced a new payout cap, which is $100,000 now, which is why I had recently, just a few weeks back, started a My Fund of Futures Pro account, and I ran that account up and I withdrew my $35,000 payout and I'm capped out again with them. So I think I'm in the process of being moved live because they have like a new thing called Blue Capital or whatever. I don't know if I'm actually gonna get moved live, but we'll see. They said I'm approved to be moved live, so we'll see what comes of that. Yeah, JA20SG. The cap payout for Lucid. I don't know the monetary payout cap. I can't remember that one, but the payout cap is for sure 5 payouts out of one account. So like if you have whatever account you're using, if you hit the fifth payout, they will automatically move you live. But the thing about Lucid though, and if in case you just hopped on here, what's good about them is that you don't need to worry about them being like you can't trade forever. Like if you get capped out with them and you get moved live, you can always come back after the cooldown period and trade with them again. So yes, TPT does stop intraday after the buffer, but that's the hard part though, right? Is like it's getting over the buffer. I think a lot of people struggle to get over the buffer, especially if you like for like Jake, for example, right? Like Jake holds his trades like for like 200 points, 300 points. So if he were to do that, let's just say it moves 150 points in his favor, and it's, I don't know, let's just say news hits and it sharply comes back down to his entry before it goes back up again. Well, guess what? That's gonna blow his account, unfortunately, because of the way the intraday trail and drawdown works. So that's the thing that makes it tough. Have a good night, McCarty. 4 weeks for the cooldown period. Globex is just the when the session opens. I withdraw the entire buffer, my man, up to the point. So like on a 150k account, your drawdown is 4,500. I will withdraw everything up until 4,500. So like if my balance gets say like I actually post, I think it's this in some of my reels. There was that day that I had a fresh new Teak Profitability Pro account. I made $7,500 that day, and I withdrew 3,000 because that's the max I'm able to withdraw. So it brings my drawdown back to 4,500 again. So I personally will never leave more than the buffer, and the only reason why is because $4,500 is a lot of buffer. So I don't see why I would want to hold on to more than that. 5 minutes left of the market. Let's see. It is important to me that we close back into the 26,000. If we don't close back into the 26,000, then there's a good possibility we come back down. I'm sticking to my plan. I think longs wise, we do need to have this nice, proper higher low bounce up here. Yeah, we definitely need to get up here. I'm not interested in anything until then. The base hits or longer. Follow me on Instagram, by the way, guys. I actually post a lot about some of these questions that you're asking right now. 90% of the time, I'm gonna say, I don't want to call them base hits, but 90% of the time, I will take trades between 30 to 60 points. And then the 5 to 10% of times are ones that I will hold like 100 to 200 points. Most of the time, I do take 30 to 60 only. But anything less than that, I don't. It's rare that I take less than that. 15 points, 20 points is probably the lowest I would ever go, and that depends on the setup. Take Profit Trader Pro. Sorry, I keep saying Pro because it's like literally what their fundeds are called. Take Profit Trader, I think, is the one that I've extracted the most out of. Last year alone, I extracted 400,000. I think $400,000 in payouts with them. I actually just got their tax slip from them earlier, a couple days ago. So although they don't give up payout certificates, that tax form is a hefty reminder of the amount of payouts I got from them. Chats and trades. I answered that question earlier as well. These days, I'm ranging between 10 to 20% in expense to payout ratio, but my average for last year was about 30%. My IG, I'll just keep posting it here. Hold on. I'm using Jake's. I'm using Jake's whatchamacall, YouTube to message you guys because I don't know how to get in here on my own. That's my IG. 30%, as in like if you make $100,000 in payouts, then $30,000 is how much is being spent. That was my average for last year. Just in general, the full expense of it, evals, accounts, prop from everything. I use stop loss for evals. In the end of the day, just think about it this way, right? Like you're trading because you're trying to refine edge, right? So you don't want to get used to creating degen behaviors, because if you get used to that, you'll carry that on forward when you get funded as well. In terms of managing, since you use minis, how many do you enter with in order to leave a runner? So generally 2 minis is like a very safe cushion. I use 3 minis if I have an A+ setup. Otherwise I don't. Like, so yeah, usually if I use, for example, 2 minis, then I'll trim one for 1 or 2R, and then I'll let the last one run to like the final TP, depending on where it is. If I'm using like 3 minis, then I'll generally trim one by one as we go along and let it go, because chances are if I'm taking an A+ setup, it likely means that I expect it to have quite a big of a move. So there should be enough room for me to trim my 3 contracts along the way. Yeah, for tax stuff, guys, you got to make sure you talk to your accountant, because I don't want to advise. It's because every place is different, right? Like I live in Vancouver, so it's gonna be a little bit different from like Vancouver, Canada. It's gonna be different from the U.S. And I also trade out of my business because I am an entrepreneur, so I don't have a business for trading. I am a business person already, and so I just trade through that business, if that makes sense. Technically speaking, if you were to define profitable as in like at the end of every year where you up or down, I was profitable year one, but, and I say but, I I don't consider it profitable though, because I didn't really know what I was doing. Like I was, in hindsight now when I look back at it, I was gambling still, right? So even though I was profitable, I didn't know what I was really doing. So for me, it's like I don't really consider it knowing what I was doing until maybe just 2.5 years ago, when I really said, okay, I think I know what I'm doing now, and I'm refining it now. Now that I understand it, I'm refining myself to get better and better and better at it, right? So that'd be my answer to that question. Yeah, so now I use the biggest account sizes. Back then I used to trade 50K accounts, because in every prop firm, the 50K accounts are the best drawdown to profit target ratios. So those are the best ones to trade if you're looking to pass and get paid out. But now I personally use the 150K accounts the most, just because I do prefer the drawdown. My stop losses are going to be based on points and structure, not one or the other. So it really just depends. London has opened. So like I said, I'm going to give it a, I know technically the session should be over already, but I'm just going to give it a little bit. Right now, you can kind of see here already that channel that I drew, right? Like you could just see visually. So I draw these out a lot of times, even for like students, because I want them to visually understand what I'm trying to refer to. Right now, like this is the opening candle. Ideally, for me, if I would have any sense of longs, we do need to make sure that we close back above Globex. So let's see what we do here for the next 15 minutes here. See if we can reclaim back above here. I expect some rejection at the VWAP, which is why I put that there. Yeah, let's see. Patience, my friends, patience. I guess daylight saving times. You could be right, actually. London would have opened an hour ago. You're right. You're right. You're right. See, this daylight savings times really wrecks me, man, because like daylight usually London opens, like for me, London open technically would have been midnight back then, but I think you are right. London open. No, it still says 11. No, it still says midnight. At least it says that for me right now. No, just now. London opened just now. You got me tripping there, my guy. Got me tripping. Been good chats tonight, guys. Good chats. I do have one more code, I think, to give away. Give me 1 second here. I just want to make sure before I. Give me a second, gang. I do. I do have another account to give away, guys. By the way, I like the way that 5-minute close there. But I would like to get us break. Let's get this break above. Break and retest, guys. Break and retest. All right, we could do another giveaway because we do have another one, and I'm gonna have to do this on my own since my man Ranji should be sleeping by now. All right, so if you guys can spam the chat again, guys, because apparently that's how we do it here. I am gonna do another account giveaway. It's a 50K growth account. So fire away, spam away, and I am gonna pick a name at random. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, you guys can stop spamming now because I got the winner. There you go. Kenny Bobek 9533. You are the winner of the growth account. So, give me a second here, man. All right. Congratulations. Congratulations to Kenny Bobek 9553. So, please follow, DM me on Instagram, Kenny Bobek. Again, I'm just gonna type my Instagram here. That's my Instagram, guys. Just follow me on Instagram, DM me there, and I will send you the code as soon as I shut down the stream here. Okay. Oh man, back hurts from sitting in this chair. Jake, you're still awake. My goodness, my man. Thanks for doing that, by the way. I should probably have that link copied and paste somewhere so it's easier for me to do it next time. See you later, Josh. Get some rest, bud. Yeah, I mean, I've gotten used to just training by myself, right? Like I'm because like a lot of the times for me, and the reason why, like, some people even ask me like, oh, what took you so long to start streaming? So I mean, first and foremost, shout out to Mr. Jake Ricci for obviously allowing me the opportunity to do this and bringing me on board. But it's because a lot of times when I'm trading, I'm balancing other things, right? Like I could literally be in a virtual meeting with a client. I could be, driving to a client meeting. And so, like, a lot of times I'm trading in between stuff, right? So it's hard for me to just focus on just trading. Like it's rare, and if anything, it actually helps me to not just focus on trading because I think it's more likely that I do something stupid on the market if that's the case. Um, but yeah, that's actually the reason why I usually trade by myself. But with working with students, it changes things up a little bit for me, right? So if I'm coaching student, then sometimes we'll be trading one on one live, or if it's just huddles, then we'll do that as well. So oh yeah, clients. Sorry, I guess it depends on if you're hopping on now or not. I work with restaurants. That's actually my specialty. So my corporate career was with restaurants. Obviously, just for confidential reasons, I won't name the names of them. But I worked. I used to work with one of the biggest restaurant groups in the world, and I was actually in their. I worked in the corporate leadership team as well. So now what I do as an independent business consultant is I took that large scale mindset and I take it and now I actually coach small business entrepreneurs. So I help small business owners build out what they've got. So like whether you think it's like a coffee shop or like maybe it's a bubble tea place, a ramen shop or sushi restaurant, it doesn't matter, right? Like that's essentially kind of where my realm works in. So when I say client, that's what I mean. I don't when I say trading, it's a student. I'll never refer to a trading person that I'm working with as a client. Trading is students. So I work with students in trading for sure, but whenever I say clients, it's referring to entrepreneurs. That's why when I say that I'm an entrepreneur and I'm a business owner, I don't mean that I'm a content creator or anything like that. And it's not to say that content creating isn't business. It's just that I think most people just assume that when someone's on Instagram or something and they say that they're an entrepreneur, they just assume they're a content creator. I work with restaurant owners. That's essentially what I do. That's the main thing I do. Yeah, I mean that's the thing too, right? Like so, like even right now, right? Like earlier, like throughout the whole day, I took like two trades, and they're not even like the real trades per se, right? Like earlier, I took a long trade over here when I made the comment like if it wasn't for the news, I would have shorted actually because I would have anticipated based on the candle shorting would have made sense, and I was right. Shorting was the one thing that made the most sense, so I took an L there, and then I did a test one for a double bottom here, which we got a win for. I think that's the thing too, right? Like people will, and that's what also made me think like, okay, when you're trading live, like you're gonna feel the need to take trades, and I don't think that's necessarily always true. I mean, as long as you guys are okay with just chatting, like I'd be more than happy to chat for 2 hours with you guys, right? If nothing presents itself, and I think that when I'm trading around this time period, I almost have to accept that that might be the case. You're not always gonna get some good setups, right? So, um, yeah. Anyways, that's my 2 cents on that one. Oh, are you still in that long, bro? Right, guy? Yeah, yeah. I hope so. I mean, like I think a lot of the things that nice, nice. I think a lot of the things that I like I try to explain is just my life experience, right? I'm probably older than I don't want to like date myself. I think I'm a little older than some of the most of the traders out in the space, and I only say that because like I feel like every all the traders are like in their 20s, And I know Jake's older now too, but like I mean, when I met him, he was mid 20s, right, with the time at so I think for myself, I do feel like I'm a little older. So with that, I share a little bit more of the experiences. And I do find that like I think the cross between the professional aspect of my life to the trading world, I think is super valuable. And I think that's where I feel I offer a lot of value in what I do here is because I wasn't a trader success first. I was successful in my corporate career, and then I was successful in my entrepreneur career, and then trading came after that. And so I think that like that's where for me I can find the correlation a lot between the things, the disciplines, the traits that you need to learn to be a great trader. A lot of them actually correlates with being a great entrepreneur as well. And I think in a lot of cases as well, there are some things that we've been taught in life that might also hinder our ability to be good traders, right? And that's the mindset of like when we open our charts and we open the screen, we treat it like it's work. We feel like we're clocking in and we feel the need to take a trade when, and in reality, when it comes to trading, that's not going to be the case. That's like entrepreneurship. Some days you might open your restaurant and you might not have a customer, and that's life. And right now, when it comes to trading, sometimes you might open the chart and there might not be a trade. And I think sometimes the most dangerous thing of all is trying to take a trade just because you opened your chart, right? So it's a little tough, right? Uh, you're right, guy. You're a little older than I am. Yeah, you are. We're in the 30s, man. We in the 30s. Yeah, I spend a lot of time like yeah, I can go on forever, man. I literally I get paid to literally conduct business plans, SWOT analysis, and like team development workshops and those type of things, right? A lot actually like for me when I do client work as well, they actually it gets to a point where they look at me as more of a business partner than a client, than a consultant, sorry, because of how involved I get with them when I work with them. Yeah, 30s, man, 30s. Show us the new balances. What balances, Leto? Yeah, in terms of strategy, I did kind of go through that earlier on. I'm very similar to Jake. I've adjusted a lot of different things for myself to make it work so it works for me and in terms of my personality as a trader. But it's same thing, right? I work off references, levels, right? Market structure, those type of things. For me, I let the larger time frames dictate a lot of my biases, and then from there on out, I find my execution on the smaller time frames. Um, and yeah, I mean, I don't like to fight the trend, but I also do fairly well with managing between ranging markets and trending markets. I think that's probably something that I do well in as well. So yeah, cool. Yeah. Anyways, guys, it's been 16 minutes past the stream. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, man. I am gonna be back at it again tomorrow. I'll be back at it every other day as well. So I am gonna be doing this 5 days a week. So for if you're on the West Coast, that is gonna be Sunday night. So Sunday night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night. Those are all the days that I'll be streaming here. And hopefully we'll have some better opportunities. But yeah, this is the first session, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And I will catch you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys. Drop some likes if you guys can. It helps us a lot.